Listen to me, ladies. I need you to catch this today. Stop being nice to men. Yeah, I said it. Because nice gets you walked over, nice gets you overlooked, and nice gets you taken for granted. You think being sweet and agreeable is going to get you the crown? No. All it gets you is headaches and wasted years on somebody who never deserved your time in the first place. See, men don't respect nice. Men respect strength. Men respect boundaries. Men respect when you say, nah, I ain't going for that. Because every man on this earth is wired to test you. That's the truth. He gonna push. He gonna try. And if all you ever give him is a smile and a that's okay, he's gonna treat you like a doormat. But when you stand up, when you let him know what you will and won't accept, that's when his whole tone changes. Stop people pleasing. Stop bending just to keep a man around. If you gotta shrink yourself to keep him happy, baby, you already lost. Men don't chase what's easy. They chase what has value. Diamonds don't apologize for shining too bright. Lions don't apologize for roaring too loud. Why you apologizing for having standards? Being kind is fine, but nice. Nice is weak. Nice is fake. Nice is when you betray yourself just so somebody else can feel comfortable. Don't do that no more. You want respect? Set your standards, hold your line, and let a man rise to meet you. Because the day you stop being nice is the day you start being powerful. Let me break something down real clear. There's a big difference between being nice and being respected. A lot of people confuse the two, but they don't mean the same thing. Being nice is when you're always trying to keep the peace, always trying to make everybody else comfortable, even when it comes at the cost of your own comfort. Respect, on the other hand, comes when you show people exactly who you are, what you stand for, and what you won't tolerate. One will make people smile at you for a moment, but the other will make them value you for a lifetime. See, when you're too nice, what you're really doing is training people to expect that they can do anything around you and you'll just go along with it. You think you're being kind, but in reality, you're setting yourself up to be ignored, overlooked, and undervalued. People see you as the one who's always going to say yes, always going to be okay with whatever they throw at you. And before long, they stop taking you seriously. Why? Because you never stood firm on anything. Niceness without boundaries becomes weakness, and weakness is something people exploit. Now, respect. Respect is a whole different story. Respect doesn't come because you smile all the time or because you let people walk all over you. Respect comes because you say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, and this is what I won't allow in my life. People might not always like it, they might even get uncomfortable, but they'll learn real quick not to play with you. Respect is born out of boundaries, and boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about teaching people how to treat you. Every time you choose respect over niceness, you're telling the world that your self-worth is not up for negotiation. You're saying, I don't need your approval if it comes at the expense of my dignity. That's powerful, because when people see that you're not willing to compromise your values just to be liked, they start to admire you, even if they don't admit it out loud. The truth is, deep down, everybody respects someone who stands firm, even if they don't agree with them. Nobody respects someone who bends in the wind every time pressure comes their way. Think about it this way. If you're always nice, you might gain a few temporary friends, but you'll lose your self-respect. If you choose respect, you might lose a few fake friends, but you'll gain the confidence and peace of knowing you didn't betray yourself. Which one sounds like the better deal? Too many people spend their lives worried about being nice, and in the process, they forget that niceness doesn't protect you. It exposes you. Respect, though, that's armor. That's strength. That's how you keep your head up when life starts testing you. Now, here's the part most people don't understand. When you start setting boundaries, when you stop being overly nice, some people are going to fall away. They'll call you mean. They'll say you've changed. They'll say you're too hard to deal with. But let me tell you something. That's not a loss. That's a filter. That's life removing the people who only valued you for what you could give them, not for who you are. If your strength makes someone uncomfortable, that's a reflection of their weakness, not yours. Respect is not about being harsh, cold, or unkind. It's about being firm, steady, and grounded in what you believe. It's about knowing your worth and not selling it cheap just because you want someone's approval. Niceness says, I hope you like me. Respect says, I'll be fine whether you do or not. Which one sounds more powerful to you? People will always test your limits, but you get to decide how far they go. If you have no limits, they'll run all over you. If you have strong boundaries, they'll think twice. And after a while, they'll respect you for it. Some might even secretly admire you for having the courage to do what they never could. So stop chasing after being nice. Start standing on respect, because niceness might win you short-term approval, but respect will win you long-term honor. When you stand firm in your values, when you draw your line and refuse to move it, that's when people stop looking at you as someone they can use and start seeing you as someone they can't afford to lose. And here's the truth. The day you stop being overly nice is the day you finally start being respected. Let's get this straight. People-pleasing has never earned anyone genuine respect. You can spend your whole life trying to keep everybody else happy, doing what they want, saying what they want, to hear, making sure you never ruffle a feather, and still you'll end up exhausted, empty, and unappreciated. Because the hard truth is this: people don't value what comes too easily, and men, especially, don't value a woman who constantly bends over backward to please them. They respect the one who knows her worth and isn't afraid to show it. See, when you're a people pleaser, you train others to take you for granted. Every time you say yes when you really want to say no, you're telling them, my feelings don't matter as much as yours. Every time you let something slide just to avoid conflict, you're saying, I'd rather betray myself than disappoint you. And here's the problem with that. People will keep taking as long as you keep giving. It's not because they're evil. It's because you taught them that your boundaries don't exist. Before long, you're stuck in a cycle where your needs are ignored, your voice is silenced, and you start to wonder why nobody sees your value. The answer is simple. You gave it away for free. Men don't admire a woman who is available at every call, who tolerates every mistake, who bends herself into knots just to keep him comfortable. They might enjoy it, they might take advantage of it, but they will not respect it. Respect comes from strength, from standards, from the ability to say, no, I'm not okay with that. Respect comes from a woman who can look a man in the eye and say, I love you, but I love myself too, and I will not lose me to keep you. That's power. That's worth. That's when a man realizes he's dealing with someone he can't play with. When you stop people-pleasing, you start living in your truth. And that truth might not always make people comfortable, but it will always make you free. You don't need to explain, you don't need to over-justify, and you don't need to apologize for having boundaries. The moment you stop bending over backward, you stand upright, and people start noticing the strength in your spine. That's when you shift the dynamic. Instead of being seen as someone who can be controlled, you become someone who must be respected. Now, let me tell you what usually happens when you decide to stop pleasing. At first, people will push back. They'll call you selfish. They'll say you've changed. They'll get frustrated because you're no longer easy to manipulate. And yes, it might feel uncomfortable, but understand this: those reactions are proof that your boundaries are working. If someone is upset that you're finally honoring yourself, that's not someone who valued you to begin with. That's someone who valued your compliance, not your character. The irony is, when you stop people-pleasing, the right men respect you more. The strong men, the men with vision, the men who actually want a partner, not a servant. They don't want someone who just goes along with everything. They want someone who challenges them, who holds them accountable, who inspires them to rise higher. Men respect a woman who respects herself because it tells them she won't tolerate less than she deserves. And trust me, a man steps differently around a woman like that. People-pleasing steals your energy, your confidence, and your identity. It convinces you that you're only worthy when everyone else is happy with you. But the truth is, you are worthy whether people approve of you or not. The ones who love you for real don't need you to bend to fit their comfort. They'll value you exactly as you are. The ones who need you to please them constantly, they were never really for you in the first place. So stop chasing approval. Stop trying to be everything to everybody. Because the more you water yourself down, the less flavor you have left. You weren't created to be agreeable at all costs. You were created to stand in your worth, to own your truth, to command respect. And when you do that, you'll find that the right people, the right men, the right relationships will align themselves with you, not because you bent for them, but because you stood firm in yourself. People-pleasing may get you temporary attention, but self-respect gets you lasting honor. So make the trade. Now stop bending over backwards, straighten up, know your worth, and never again apologize for demanding the respect you deserve. Let's be real. Standards are the difference between living a life full of respect and living a life full of regret. Too many people confuse being liked with being valued. They think if they're agreeable enough, quiet enough, accommodating enough, then people will stick around and treat them right. But the truth is, the lower your standards, the more you invite people who will waste your time. The higher your standards, the more you filter out the ones who were never meant for you. Standards are not walls to keep people out. They are doors that only open for the right ones to walk through. When you stop being nice just to be liked, you start sending a message, I don't live for your approval, I live for my truth. And that shift changes everything. Suddenly, the kind of men who used to think they could sweet talk their way into your life without effort start realizing, hold up, this one is different. Standards demand effort. Standards demand respect. Standards demand that a man either rises to meet your expectations or accepts that he doesn't have the capacity to stay. And honestly, that's exactly what you want. Because the wrong men will step out and the right men will step up. A lot of people are scared of setting standards because they think it'll scare people away. And you know what? It will. But here's the part you need to understand. The ones who leave weren't supposed to be there anyway. They weren't invested in building anything real. They were there for convenience, for comfort, for what they could take. So let them go. Standards don't chase people off. Standards reveal who was serious and who was just passing through. And trust me, losing the wrong people is never a loss. Think about it like this. Imagine walking into a high-end store. The prices are set. The quality is high. Nobody in that store is begging you to buy something. You either meet the price or you leave. And because of that, the people who do buy know they're getting something valuable. Now compare that to a cheap street stall. Everything's negotiable, no standards, no structure. People come, haggle, grab what they want, and walk away without a second thought. That's the difference between living without standards and living with them. When you have standards, people know your worth. When you don't, people play games. The real strength in standards is that they protect you from wasting your time. A man who doesn't respect himself, doesn't want to grow, doesn't want to commit, he won't make it past your expectations. And that's good, because why would you want someone in your life who can't meet even the basics of what you deserve? Standards keep you from entertaining nonsense. They save you from years of headaches. They remind you every single day that your value is not up for debate. Now, here's the beautiful part. Men respect standards. They may complain about them, they may test them, but deep down, they admire them because standards show strength, and strength is attractive. A man who's serious about you will rise. He will adjust, he will grow, he will step into the role you need him to play. But a man who was only there for the ride will leave. And that's exactly what standards are supposed to do. Separate the wheat from the chaff, the pretenders from the contenders. When you live without standards, you settle for crumbs. When you live with them, you feast on respect. And the truth is, setting standards isn't about being hard or unkind. It's about being clear. Clear about what you need, what you want, and what you will not accept. And that clarity is what gives you peace. You no longer stress over who stays or who leaves because you know the Ones who stay are the ones who are willing to meet you where you stand. So stop lowering the bar just to be liked. Stop being nice at the expense of your dignity. Raise your standards and watch how quickly your life changes. The wrong men will fade away, but the right men, the ones who see your worth, will step up because they'll know they're dealing with someone they cannot afford to lose. Strength is not in how much you tolerate. It's in how much you refuse to settle for less than you deserve. Standards are your strength. Hold them high and never apologize for them, because the day you stop being nice just to be liked is the day you finally step into your power. And that's the day you discover who's truly worthy of you. At the end of the day, it all comes down to this. Stop being nice just for the sake of being liked. Nice gets you nowhere, but overlooked. Respect gets you valued. When you choose respect over niceness, when you stop people-pleasing, when you raise your standards high, you change the entire way men deal with you. Men don't rise for easy, they rise for worthy. They don't chase what bends every time pressure comes, they chase what stands tall and won't break. The moment you realize your worth, the moment you set your standards and refuse to apologize for them, you force every man in your life to make a choice, either step up to meet you or step out of your way. And either outcome is a win because you're no longer wasting your time on those who can't see your value. So hear me on this. Stop shrinking yourself just to fit somebody's comfort zone. Stop apologizing for having boundaries. Stop living for approval. Respect yourself. Honor your standards and watch how fast the wrong ones disappear and the right ones step forward. Because the truth is simple. When you stop being nice just to be liked, you finally step into your power. And when you live in that power, nobody can play with you, nobody can devalue you, and nobody can take your crown.